And we are going live in 10 seconds. Oh, we're live.
We're
There we are.
live.
Yes, we are. All right. Okay, well, hey, everybody. Welcome to this live stream. My name is Tony Babarino. I'm with Remax Premier Realty. We're streaming out live right now. Tube, choice is yours. And I'm here to talk about the potential for sellers to seriously consider doing an inspection before they sell their home. And I have Raymond from Elite Inspections. Raymond, let the people know who you are, man.
My name is Ray Gastelum. I'm the regional manager for Los Angeles County for Elite Group Property Inspections.
All right. And, before we get into the detail, just so people know, why we're talking to you, can you talk a little bit about your company? So people might have heard of you, but they don't really know the company. Can you take about a minute and then we can go into the good stuff about Elite Group?
Yeah, I'll compact it real quick. The Elite Group is the largest property inspection company in North America. We have 60 full-time inspectors. We specialize in residential, commercial, termite, sewer scope, and mold inspections. We are by far the most reputable and by far the most heavily insured in North America.
Excellent. Okay, Raymond, so the topic today, and for those of you catching this on a recording, there will be more coming up, and we'll have links below on where you can find out in advance where other topics are coming up to share with you. So I live and work in around Irvine and Orange County, and Raymond's company covers the whole state, but he's our guy around here. So Raymond, our topic today is why should sellers consider doing a pre-inspection? Because normally that's what the buyer does, at least around here. So can you elaborate on your experiences and what facts you may know, and let the people know so they can make a decision whether or not they want to take action on that? There's a lot of benefits to it, but you're the pro. Let's go to you, why they should seriously consider an inspection before they sell their home.
Well, I actually got some statistics here. In Southern California, I would say around 98% of home inspections are buyer side, 2% being pre-listing inspections. In Northern California, I would say it's the polar opposite. I think it's 97% up there, 3% buyer side. So what we noticed though in Northern California is that they have an extremely high close rate up there. Okay, so what happens is the model set up in Southern California is you hire an agent, you list your home, the home's being showed, buyer submits an offer, you accept it, goes into escrow, buyer brings in their home inspector, he finds some stuff that may or may not be included on the report. Um, Next thing you know, you have a concerned buyer though. Okay,
Right,
and
right.
now they're asking for a major concession on the property, and maybe these items don't cost that much to fix. Okay, so pre-listing inspection, it's to get ahead of the problems. Okay,
Right.
so before you hire your agent, you get a pre-listing inspection done. Inspector comes in, he finds all the major defects in home, and I can't stress this upon you guys enough. Don't focus on all like any little issues like, oh, the light switch is broken, oh, there's a mark on the window over there. Those are minor cosmetic issues that the new
Agreed.
homeowner is gonna incur in the property anyways. It doesn't matter. You're looking for major issues that a buyer would ask a major concession on. Okay, so go ahead, Tony, you had something to say.
No, no, by all means. No, you're you're rocking and rolling. Itemize that, and let me throw you some questions or thoughts, and we'll bounce off that. I'm going to do the best I can to come up with questions that I think other people might ask. So in the future, later or tomorrow, next week, if they're watching the recording, maybe we can still give them that value, unless they catch us on the next one. But yeah, if you want to give you have a couple of maybe one good story on a conflict that might have occurred because they didn't do an inspection. Is there any kind of an example that you can recall at this time?
I have statistics. I was actually doing a meeting
Hmm.
one time. It was in Beverly Hills for a higher end brokerage. They deal in luxury real estate. That brokerage in the month of August of 2019, 55% of their escrows fell out due to pre-existing conditions that were found in the home during the inspection process. Okay.
Nice.
Same escrow, same brokerage in San Francisco, same month of August, 95% of their escrows closed. The only difference being is Northern California was getting pre-listing inspections. The
Mhm.
buyers or the sellers were actually fixing the major defects. So when the buyers show up with their home inspector, which they're probably still going to do in Southern California, there's no major issues. You know, it's going to be an almost clean report. You're not walking on eggshells anymore. It's peace of mind for the sellers. And if you have any pride in ownership, you're going to want to know if your home has any defects.
I have to agree with you. I think that, well, if this is my feeling, I think sometimes people are just price sensitive. If you're selling a home and let's say secretly, according to the math, you hope to net $40,000 profit at the end of the day, $200,000, $350,000. For my professional opinion, to spend just a little bit of money, and if I and quote me, your price ranges could be what? It's only like in the hundreds, right? Your price ranges
Yeah,
generally.
it's your average price for a home inspection in California is going to be around $350 to $450.
Oh, so if if I were to sell my home as a consumer and I had an agent, and I really mean this when I say this, folks, for 350, maybe $400, maybe even 500. If I'm looking to get a successful transaction, you don't want to sell your home, you want to sell and close, which means you get your check and you go buy your next house. To stack the odds in your favor of reducing the problems, reducing the stress, and getting to the close of escrow. That's the whole point, not to sell, but to get the close of escrow. You would want to take away the biggest hurdles you possibly can up front. So when you stick the for sale sign in the ground, you're going in with more clarity, open eyes. And if something were to come up in the other guy's inspection, the buyer's inspection, it might, people miss things. It's possible. But wouldn't you want to go in with that greatest possible peace of mind that you get a company like yours, for example, that has all that experience and all those inspectors out there and all that training and all those certifications? You would want to start with a good foot, because if there are things that you go, oh, I didn't know that was broken, there are things you could fix. So if I'm representing the buyer and I come in and we send an offer and we go into escrow and that inspection comes back, if that report has two little things on it, there's really not much to negotiate on that part. But
There isn't.
if it comes back with like eight things and three of them are huge, now suddenly it's the buyer wants a credit. The buyer wants the seller to pay for it. The seller says, no, no, you're taking the house as is. The buyer says, well, I don't want to take that house with a bad electrical box because it might go on fire and I want you to fix it, because who knows how expensive it could be. You do it. So you get into this back and forth. That's not a happy position to be in for anybody. A buyer wants to buy the house, seller wants to sell the house. So it is a little shocking that when I explain professionally and firmly to the seller, if you do an inspection, your percentages of issues goes down and we can close and get your check. If you don't, it's like a gamble. It is.
It
It's a
is.
gamble. I don't care. Well, my house is only 2 years old. And you think builders don't make mistakes? You think builders don't build homes that have things that are cheap? They look shiny new.
Exactly.
There could be, I sold homes where in escrow, boom, there was a leak in the wall and they had to get a high-end professional company to come out and do a great job to reroute with copper pipe to get it to the sink in escrow. And that was after we did an inspection. The only reason that I think the seller fixed it was when you go into that final walkthrough and you see a big wet wall and puddle, so you knew they had to fix it. They
Yep.
had to. They did. They did a great job. So it just goes to show you never know what could happen with the home. I believe getting that inspection before, resolve all the issues so the house is as quote unquote clean as possible, so that when you do get an offer accepted or you have offers going back and forth, a seller has some ground to stand on with their price. Not the only thing, but that's one thing that they can say, well, look, we did an inspection. We think it's going to be fine. If we can get into an agreement, go to escrow, do your inspections. We believe it'll be fine. At least a buyer can go in there going, oh, well, maybe this will be okay. Everybody gets more relief up front. And then if something comes up, you can resolve the issue. But do you want to resolve this many issues or more, or resolve this many issues?
Yeah.
It could be one big one, but I'd
Well,
rather deal with one.
take take in mind too, not just us. The average defects found in a home in Southern California is 38. On average, home inspectors find 38 defects in any home. Okay, great example of this. I was I was inspecting a $3.2 million listing in West Hollywood a few months back, brand new construction from the ground up.
Ooh,
I found 42 defects, 8 health and safety violations. Brand new $3.2 million home. It was even being featured on a television show. You just never know what could be wrong with the home. You know, we're there to spot general contractors' mistakes sometimes. You know,
it
and I heard
happens.
you talking about it happens.
Yeah.
It happens. I heard you talking about monetary. You know, money. Let's just face it, money. Okay, you know the clients don't want to spend the money on the inspection. It's a few $100s. The buyer's going to bring their own inspector anyways. Okay, well take this in mind. A buyer comes in, you didn't get a pre-listing inspection done. A ton of issues are found with electrical, plumbing. Next, you know, the buyers bringing their general contractor to give them quotes on what it will cost to
Uh-oh.
fix these items.
Hmm.
Okay, so they're quoting in the tens of thousands now, most likely. Okay, so you get a pre-listing inspection done. You bring in your own general contractor. You negotiate a deal with them. You could potentially save yourself tens of thousands of dollars with a $400 investment.
That's actually fair to say because number one, no one ever knows everything. So even if the house is brand new, really old, or renovated, humans are doing these things. So all we're doing is telling sellers, for example, now we're talking about the sellers. I mean, buyers, we know buyers will want to inspect, of course. But for sellers, I would want them to have less problem, less stress. What if a seller, hypothetical, a seller hires you to send one of your guys out and they find like two major problems that the seller didn't know? And then they resolve it. Then they go to market, they try to sell, and sometimes, I don't care what agent you are, sometimes the house doesn't sell. Well, at the worst case, the seller can remain in a house that's fixed because, if when a problem happens, usually it's more expensive when it's, oh no, but when you like your car, if you know there's something going wrong, it's better to fix it before it breaks. Say your braking system or your tires are bald, better to fix it before something happens so that if you have to keep it for a while longer, it's it's safer, less surprises. So if you go back on the market, inspect again, make sure nothing changed. Now you're showing the buyers, hey, look, we've inspected this home. Yeah, it fell out of escrow for whatever reason or didn't sell. You inspect again to validate, look, it's still in good shape. So if I'm a buyer and I saw the seller did their own termite inspection and repairs, the inspection of the home and repairs, that does give a buyer more confidence, and the seller has some validation to try to keep the price more towards what they want. Because as a buyer's
Absolutely.
agent, if I'm happy to be in a buyer's agent situation and I see the inspection for termite, the inspection for the house, I see the repairs and receipts, the first I think is, oh man, one of the very few things we have to fight to get the price to go down is comparables,
Exactly.
right? Now we're assuming if we look at comparables, we're assuming usually we just never really know if those houses are in good shape. If there's comparables, but there were some problems, we may not necessarily know. So in some ways, we're going off of that. Now, the appraiser, if you have a pre-inspection and repairs on termite and inspection and handle all that, go into escrow. Buyer's agent have a harder time bringing the price down. Okay, but at least you're selling a home that should be more worthy. Then when the appraiser comes in, it's probably a good idea to have everything as good a shape as possible because while they're not inspectors and they're not termite guys, if an appraiser sees something that he thinks is termite, if he sees something that he thinks might be a problem, that can hold things up to get it validated. And what you would want to do as a buyer's agent and a listing agent is say, whoop, here it is, inspected, repaired. It's not what you think it is. We're good to go. So it
Yeah.
just saves so many hurdles. Those hurdles that show up, you want them gone as many as possible. So why not do it? And of course, I think sellers just probably got into the rhythm of sell the house, let the buyers inspect it. If they find a problem, then hey, I know what's wrong, and he walks away. Yeah, but now your house is on the market longer, and you have to disclose that. So if you don't inspect pre-inspection, get an offer, go into escrow, find a problem, buyer walks away. Now you're back on the market longer, which usually doesn't look very good. That's how it is, just a perception.
Yep.
And then
Yes.
When you get an offer and go into escrow, you have to disclose. There's a certain time period where you have to disclose that prior inspection. So now the buyer goes, well, wait, is this fixed? And then, hopefully they're going to move forward and they have their inspector come in. It's just not, when I see a problem, it doesn't mean it kills a deal. It's just problem. It's kind of like having a conversation and somebody just, all of a sudden goes, and you go, does he have a cocaine habit? Is he infected? You start getting
Yeah.
squeamish. It's just
No, it's
humanity, right?
no. I wanted to touch on what you just said. I have a line I like to use, and
Please.
it's perception is reality. Okay, and it's so true. If the client's perceiving something, that is their reality. Okay,
Yep.
so when you get a pre-listing inspection done, what I've just seen, it's a more kosher transaction. Nobody's walking on eggshells. You as a seller, when the inspector's getting underneath your raised foundation, if you have one, or if they're getting on top of your roof, you're not right there sitting going, I wonder if there's any cracking in my foundation. I wonder if there's a leak in my roof. You're getting ahead of these problems. You
Yep.
have peace of mind as a seller. The
Exactly.
buyers are comfortable. The buyers are going to be comfortable with their inspector is going to find. And in Northern California, in all honesty, when they do their pre-listing inspection, they post it on the MLS. Okay, so the buyers see this when they're looking at
Ooh.
it on the MLS, and and in all honesty, buyers in Northern California don't even bring in their own home inspector. They throw everything on the table, and that's what you want to practice. You don't want anything hidden or feel like you're hiding anything from someone. You want to get ahead of the problems. You want to be proactive.
Yeah, it just makes more sense. I think that's why sometimes with all these disruptors, with all their tech and saying that, agents are too expensive, there's actually things tech can't do. And in my opinion, and I could be wrong, care. When you care, you start thinking ahead. In the older days, it was, yeah, buy this house. It's shiny and new. We do an inspection, patch a few things, and go on. But when you care as an agent, you think. So when I sit down with the seller, they normally want to hear, yeah, we'll get a $2 million for your $600,000 house. Sign this listing agreement. And they say, great, and you're cheap too. But that's what you're paying for. But when you get someone who's a full-time professional, then there's quite a few of us in the area, myself included, I hope, is we say, look, I know you don't want to hear this, but I'm going to tell you the truth no matter what. And the market supports the following. Your price should be this much. If you do an inspection on termite, an inspection on your house and resolve everything, we, as a listing agent with a seller, we have something to stand on. Comparables, a termite inspection with repairs, a home inspection with repairs. So now when I'm marketing a property and I'm showing it to the agent and the buyer, well, right now it's all virtual, but when we do it in person, I like to be there and pull out the binder and say, by the way, look, all of this, we have to disclose this, but look how proactive we are. My seller found it, fixed it, found it, fixed it, found it, fixed it, and now it's all done. Now there might be something missing. We're human, but would you feel comfortable if we came to a price agreement and open escrow? Would your buyer feel like, oh, okay. So if something comes up, there's usually a little more kind conversation, a little more fairness in negotiation, because a seller will be showing a buyer, look, we really cared. Now, if you don't do all the inspections, it doesn't mean you don't care. You care. But when you
Yes,
care deeply, once, termite, home inspection. I had a guy once actually hired an electrical contractor to check wiring and stuff because he really wanted to be sure about something. So when you disclose all that, you're saying, look, we did all this because we care and we want to be fully open with you. It's harder for the buyer side to come back and try to beat you on the price. What are they going to stand on? Comparables, inspections, or all the inspections are done in advance. They're going to inspect again, which hopefully will match the inspections. So if the inspections line up from two different companies, and if they find something, hopefully, we hope it's something minor. And that usually
yes,
lends itself to a smoother transaction. Appraiser comes in, everything seems fine. He does his math, here you go. Everybody's happy. So
exactly.
it's not that the seller's paying for the buyer. Remember, when as a merchant selling something, you're selling for a profit. Buyers know this. You buy a car, you know they're going to profit. You buy chewing gum, you know they're going to profit. So a seller's, if they spend that, in my philosophy, you spend that little bit up front, it makes it more successful to get to the end, which is a net check. Raymond, your thoughts?
No, absolutely. It's more than worth it. Basically, what you're investing in is a peace of mind. Okay, and Tony knows better than anyone when a buyer's agent comes in and they have a laundry list of things on the inspection report. That buyer's agent is going to ask for the sun, the moon, and everything underneath it. And
Yes,
that's just the way it is
yes,
because
they are.
you go all out. You go all out for your clients, and that's just the nature in Southern California. So you want to get ahead of that, limit that damage, and almost control the narrative of the transaction.
Well said. That's actually well said because what you don't want to do is let things go on autopilot. And autopilot example is, hey, you agent, I want you to sell my house. I'll pay you this much. If we net a sale, throw it on the market. And there are agents.
Exactly.
There are agents go, yeah, great, because they want to get their face out
Mhm.
there.
Yep.
There are people who I met been doing this job way longer than I have. Very seasoned. I'm talking like 35, 40 years. Things were different then. The offer was one page. Now it's like 10, 11. But there were things to benefit from their wisdom. And one of them is when you have a seller and you want the listing, as a professional, you don't want 10 listings that just never sell. And it could be because market, coincidence, timing, price is usually the issue. Condition, there's a lot of variables. But when we sit down as a listing agent, you're right. That's one example of a control point. Here are comparables for your house. This is the truth. This is what sold very recently. That's model matches, comparables. And yet the market will affect it a little bit. Some people freak out and nothing sells. But when you say, if we want to reduce the stress and increase the odds of getting what you want and be kind of bulletproof on price, that's a fair price to bulletproof it. So the buyer can't do
Exactly.
this. Why not 300-400 bucks? Because if you don't, you might lose thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Okay, great. Don't do an inspection. Don't do termite. Don't do that. If that's your choice, Mr. Seller. If we're on the markets for 60 days and if we have no offers or they're low ball offers, and we have to drop your price $30,000. Let's say it's $900,000 house. We got to drop $10,000, $20,000 in price. Would you rather A, drop 20, 30, 40, 50,000, and they do, believe me, 10,
Oh
20,
yeah.
30, 40,000 in price. B, or number two, do the inspections, do all the repairs, go to market, get offers and close. Now, those timetables could be the same. They could both be 60 days, 90 days, who knows? But it's about the odds and probabilities. Two houses exactly the same. This one does all the inspections, gets all the repairs done, then goes to market. This one does nothing. Which one do you think is going to win the race? The one that has all the stuff,
Exactly.
the care, the depth of care. This one cares. This one cares deeply. And someone like myself says, termite, home inspection, let's do all the checking and repairs because the buyer's going to do it anyway. Well, for the termite, your termite inspection and repairs are valid for a certain duration of time before you would have to do it again. But let's say hypothetically, termite is done, repairs are done. 30 days later, you probably get an offer. Who knows? This one does nothing. And if there are model matches in the community, model matches, same bed, same bath, same plan, same color, everything. One was inspected and repaired, one was not. Who do you think is going to be able to stand on their price a little more firm because it's worth more, whether it's perception, reality, or a combination of both? So you're right. I think you're right that you're selling peace of mind. And by the way, I'm not saying this, I get paid from him. I'm saying this just as a human being and as a real estate agent. There are things that nothing's right and wrong. There's just how much right do you think it really is and how much wrong do you think it is? I just always think it was right. And it just happens that you and I agree on that. I mean, I know it's what you sell is the inspection, but truth is truth. If you have a
No, it
bad
is.
tooth, you have a bad tooth root canal, you go to a dentist, a great dentist, you recommend them. Right? It's
Yep.
true. It's true.
It's
So
true.
Raymond, just for like a summary on your company, just to kind of go back real quick, because I want people to understand your company a little bit more. And by the way, I'm not some kind of cheerleader or shill. I just think what you guys do, in my experience, based on what my clients tell me, there's a consistency. Like your reports are really easy to read. You get the red line problem items immediately. You get the full report like within like almost 12 hours on an average I've seen. And people tell me they like how the reports are and they like your inspectors. Now that's my experience. And I just don't feel like I need to go to any other company, but I always tell the buyer when I'm dealing with the buyer on inspection, use who you want. But if you want to know who I'd
Yes.
recommend, feel free to ask me. No, no pressure, your choice. So about
Yeah.
your company, I think your company has certain kind of credentialing or something like that, and certain kind of training to really validate why the inspectors are supposed to be so good. Can you take about 60 seconds and let people know about that?
Well, in a completely unregulated home inspection industry in California, you really have to do your due diligence on who you're going to hire. Okay. So in order to become a professional in California, you have to be licensed. There's no licensing for home inspection companies or home inspectors in California. 28 states license it. California is not one of them. I know that sounds weird, but it is what it is. There are certifications though. We are internationally certified. So it stands for the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors. Okay. InterNACHI, compared to other certifications, we're actually accepted in around 72 different countries, so we could actually do inspections all around the world. The
Excellent.
beautiful part about InterNACHI too is they stay on top of us with our training. We have to retrain once a year. We have to retest once a year. We have to score a minimum of 80% in order to get our certification. Even when this virus thing came down, InterNACHI set up a COVID-19 safety course for all of our inspectors, which we all passed with a 100% average. So, and they did that within 48 hours after the lockdown. That's how on top of it our organization is, okay? And insurance. We carry a $1 million policy, which is the largest in the industry, and we're highly insured. We're highly reputable. Just do your due diligence on who you would hire out there. You want to make sure you're working with the best.
Yeah, and everybody should, really look at who they're using for their inspection. You don't want to just blindly pick the cheapest guy because, like, I have a handyman that I always recommend, and he's not, he's definitely not cheap. He actually, in my opinion, and the opinion of my clients who I sent him to, and I always get the feedback of how did it go, because he again the magic sauce. He cares. He does a good job, but he doesn't nitpick. So, like for example, when I had other handyman in previous years go out, they do their job, they leave, they're done. But some people like that extra care where he doesn't charge a markup for parts. He gives receipts. So it's always worth going into it with open eyes when picking an inspection. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, does your website still say #1 in California, #2 in the country?
Yes, it does.
And that's based on total volume in terms of who does the most inspections. Is that correct?
Yes, that is. It's kind of funny you bring that up. We actually held a convention in Texas recently for all the home inspection companies across the nation. And
Oh,
on average, we could do 500 to 600 inspections a week. And what we realized at that convention is most home inspection companies in America don't even do 500 inspections in 1 year. So it was eye opening. It was at least 95% of the inspection companies. So, and everybody looks at the elite group as the top echelon home inspection company in the
oh.
nation.
Oh, anybody who's watching, by the way, if you have questions, please post them in the comments. We'll see them. We can pull them up on screen. And again, if you're watching this as a recording, shame on you. You missed the live, but there'll be more stuff coming up. Don't worry, we have other topics. And I'm sure, Raymond, we may touch on this again in the future because there are probably some sellers sitting on the fence and they may never catch this broadcast. So I'll probably have you on maybe in about 3 weeks or so. I think
Perfect.
people are gonna get a little more antsy. I know buyers are starting to get, they really wanted to
Yes.
buy, they held on. Now they're like, wow, the rates are good. I should get out there. But this topic on um, the pre-listing inspection, I think there's probably more stories about this you could share if we had a lot more
Oh,
time. But that being said, let me just say in summary, wow, that was a quick half hour. Let me just real quick, let me pull up your banner so in case people want to reach you. So guys, there is the ad right here. This is Ray. There's his cell, email, and his company. Again, it's just, again, I'm not pushing anything. I'm just making this available to you. It's something that when I tell other people about the inspection time, they can pick who they want. I just make sure they're aware of Ray's company. I just make them aware. Say, hey, look it up, look up who you want, but don't miss looking at this one. Just make a decision. there are some people that say, well, who do you think? I say, well, if you're going to ask me to pick, this is who I would pick and why. But it's always up to them. So that being said, let everybody, the information for Raymond will be here in the live stream. It'll be on my webpage, which is the tonybabarino.com/events. And Raymond, is there any other last minute notes about sellers and why they should, any other last minute thoughts, any itch to scratch about why a seller should seriously contemplate the pre-listing inspection, or can you kind of do a quick summary of the thought to kind of finish off our dialogue today?
Why they would consider a pre-listing inspection?
Yeah, can you kind of re-summarize it, kind of like what you did in the
Yeah,
beginning? Yeah, just let people
yeah,
know.
absolutely. It's to get ahead of the problems, guys. It's to be proactive. It's to know the defects that are in your home. I can't tell you how many times I'm doing an inspection and I'm going over the report with the buyers, and the sellers are right there like, I didn't know that was wrong with my home. It happens a lot, guys. Get ahead of the problem. Get ahead of the buyers bringing in their own inspector. Fix the major defects. Don't focus on the small cosmetic stuff. Fix the major stuff. You could potentially save yourself thousands of dollars in a more kosher transaction with a higher close rate.
Yeah, it's about getting to the ultimate goal to sell your home at the best possible price you can that would actually work and be supported by the market. And you don't want to have things crash because of a problem that you didn't know about. I mean, most people, they're so used to their home, they may not notice certain cracks on a wall. They think nothing of it. And I know people who are professional foundation people, and you know they have lasers. There's so many things you could do. So if there's ever something an inspector or your company can't do, either you guys know distinct professionals for something, I know distinct professionals for something. We always have options. But number one is doing what you can to care deeply, to identify the problems, to try to clean the slate. So, like when you sell a car, if the car goes like this when you drive, who's going to buy it? Oh, yeah, I'll buy this car, but I want half price. But when you clean the car, fix the car, sell the car, and it drives normal, people feel, oh, you want $6,000 for this car? Well, according to the website, that's about right. I don't see any problems. We checked it out with my mechanic. Sold. So that's the word we're getting to. We want to get to sold as smoothly, and the three S's: sold, smoothly, and as safely as possible for everyone. What we don't want
Yes.
to do is fight. So everybody, Raymond, thank you for being here. If you
Thank
guys
you.
want to, you guys want to hear more about the topic, you want to go a little deeper. If you have specific questions, you can always messenger me through Facebook, text, email, call. If you have those specific questions, I like to collect them, bring Raymond back on. We can go on those because you never know who had the same question you guys have. We can't think of everything, but we can think of a lot of things, and we invite questions. So if you're watching this as a stream from a recording because you missed the live, post it in the comments section. I get notification. I'll collect those questions, and we'll also post the data when we get back together. And if you guys ever post anything live, we'll see it. Perfectly fine. So my website is right here. Go
Yes, it
there
is.
to find you too. You should be bookmarking that, Mister. Bookmark that. Periodically, I'll update that, have more interviews, more events, more things coming up. It'll be streamed to Facebook, YouTube. Pretty soon, I'll be streaming it also to Instagram at the same time as well. It'll be everywhere. And I'm just doing what I can to, first of all, bring value, which means give information out there for free that's actually useful with nothing to sell. I'm just trying to help. And this is why I bring people like Raymond, because I know how he is as a person, that he cares, he's passionate, he's speaking with the confidence because he swims in this every day. How could I not share him with you? So if you guys have thoughts of buying or selling, please feel free to reach out to me. My name is Tony Babarino. My number is 949-633-6741. Raymond, tell them who you are and what your number is, please, again.
My name is Ray Gastelum. I'm with Elite Group Property Inspections, area code 310-756-3716. Thank you again, Tony.
You're welcome. Thank you, Raymond. And thank you for everyone who's watching, including those of you watching the recording. We have some more stuff coming up regarding pre-appraisals and why sellers should do that. That's a deep, dark, dark topic itself because appraisals are, it's like the last big step usually in a transaction. So you're kind of like on the front end. The appraiser's a little bit more towards the back end. That's coming up.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about some scary things too, like probates and wills, and why you want to have that all. It's a scary thing. Nobody wants to pass, but when it happens, you want to make sure your family's taken care of. And there's lots of first-time buyer information. We have a lot of good stuff coming up. Do check that website out. And feel free to email me with questions if you want to have a conversation over the phone. Raymond, thank you for being here. And please contact Raymond. He's friendly, as you can tell. Have a conversation with him. Raymond's available. My God, you're just always working.
Always,
I don't
always.
think you ever take a day off, do you?
Never.
Sleep? What's that? Welcome to the world of real estate. We love what we
Exactly.
do.
Exactly.
We both love what we do. That's just why you and I have really good conversations. We can probably talk about your stuff for days on end. I have my own stories, but your stuff is a little more interesting, I think. So, everyone, thank you, Raymond. Thank you, guests and friends out there for watching. I'm Tony Babarino. I'm with Remax Premier Realty in Irvine, and I live in Irvine. God, what a great town. All right, thanks a lot for watching. We will see you all again really soon. I appreciate your time. I appreciate any questions or comments or suggestions. We're always trying to be better. We're always trying to help, and my guests are doing the same. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, Raymond.
Thank you, guys.
You're a beautiful, kind man.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay, thanks, everyone. Bye.